work situations tonight, and I thought the guys, they were prepared for them. We've been working these different situations, backed up, red zone, 2-minute situations, things like that. Stuff we've been practicing, and it was good to see those guys go out there live and do those, because everything has been a different tempo. So tonight was live. They got a chance to go out there and be in those scenarios, work through it, get out there and tackle for the defense, let those guys cut it loose a little bit, watch guys run, try to break tackles. But overall, I thought they competed well tonight. There's things we'll clean up, like we talked about before, but as far as the competition, as far as these guys getting out there and getting after it and getting quite a few reps, I think we've got more reps in this scrimmage than we had last year or the previous years this time of just live work. It was good to see these guys go compete.
Were you more pleased with this one than the last one?
I was on the defensive side. I thought they did well. I thought they played with some of the schemes and different things that we've been doing. I thought they played better. Offensively, we were good. We weren't as clean as we wanted to be. We were better, but not as clean. Just the penalties or alignments and things like that. Not necessarily things that we have flags on, but stuff that we noticed. Just little things to clean up on the offensive side. And again, mixing and matching some of the personnel and trying to get different guys in with different groups. We're working on that as well because we need to. It's not always going to be this group working together. So we did that in this scrimmage. Caused a little bit of confusion on the offensive side. They corrected it, but still not as clean as we want to be. Special teams today were solid. I didn't think that was an area of concern necessarily. We were solid there. I thought we kicked well. Eric Sachs came out, did a great job from that standpoint. We got a little bit of special teams work in, wasn't live. So overall, it was solid on both sides. And now when we transition into this next week and we start to work some of our scout looks and get into a little bit different game plan than going against each other, I think you'll simplify a little bit. So some of those things that we have a lot of volume in right now of offense and defense, that'll clean up some of those issues we had tonight. But overall, as far as guys competing, as far as guys fundamentally out there playing the game, maybe within the scheme, not just perfectly where we want them to be, but as far as fundamentally, pretty good.
Quarterbacks. You have separation
We have
there? Do you have a division? Yeah. What do they do? No, I'm kidding. No, but just, where are you at with that in terms of the competition? I know you're getting closer to having to make a decision. So how much closer are you?
Yeah. We'll see when we're done. You guys know this. I'm going to go watch it, and by Tuesday's practice, there'll be 3 that we'll get down to. And I don't know if that's going to be the starter at that point, but we're going to get onto some scout team work, and we're going to have to do that. We may have a guy bounce back and forth. But I thought all those guys tonight, everybody did a little something well, and there was a few, I don't know if we had a turnover tonight or not, a few sacks in there, a few times we held onto the ball, so some decision making that needs to clean up. But we'll get that worked out this next week when we get the scouts, and we'll get down to 3, and then we'll start to really hone in on 2, and it's time to start making those decisions. But our coaches, they got a lot more information that way. They've been breaking it down. They've been looking at it. This was really the scrimmage we're waiting to see. How do we operate? What did we do? Did we fix the issues that we had from the first scrimmage and the practices into this one? That will tell us a lot more where we are.
I think at one point you said 10 days or so usually before the first games when you like to do that. That'd be like, I guess, Wednesday or something. Is that still the time frame you're hoping to have decided by? Or?
I don't know. It'll be this next week
okay.
When we decide what we're doing. I don't know if it's going to be this Wednesday for sure. I don't know if it's going to be on Tuesday. It'll be, I know this, after we get through tonight and watch it and we get into tomorrow's cleanup practice. Then Sunday's a little bit of a walkthrough and just kind of making sure that we got everything dialed in as we go into the next week. I would imagine after that we got a pretty good idea.
I don't know if it's more for like Florida State or what, but the fact that it's not like, oh yeah, I already know which way I'm leaning. Does that mean is this a pretty tough call? Are there multiple guys that are pushing each other right now still at this point?
Yeah, it's a tough one because they are pushing each other, and it's one of those. It's not like somebody's just running away with it, and then it's not because they don't have the opportunity or the ability to do that. It's the opportunity. We're still trying to rep guys and give them their shot. So we're not just pinning it down to these guys right now. We want to give everybody an opportunity to go out there and compete. Because the bottom line, you get into a scrimmage, you can do all these things in practice. You get into a scrimmage, the goal is to get in the end zone. It's about performance and production. That's what it comes down to. So practice is different. You get in the scrimmage. All right, what do we do? How do we perform? Do we get in the end zone? And some guys did that tonight. So then you start to look at that and you got to go, all right, who has the ability to get us in the end zone? And who can operate, who can do it consistently, who can be out there and make corrections when somebody's misaligned, who sees all those things. And that just takes time and it takes opportunity. Now I think some things after tonight will probably clear up based off what I saw out there, watching behind the quarterbacks, watching the offense, watching those guys operate. But at the same time, defensively, I mean, we did some good things on the defensive side. And those guys are making it hard, so it's not like these quarterbacks just have to drop back, throw, and then it's whether you complete it or not in the perfect situation. It's they're getting a lot of different looks, and they're having to really deal with what the defense is bringing.
Kind of a two-parter. You mentioned last week that Chase did pretty much everything but some goal line stuff at the end. Has he been able to do everything yet? And then
He did. He took all his reps. There was no limitations on his reps tonight. And he was out there the whole time, played throughout the whole. So we had all the starters really through this whole scrimmage, and we haven't kept them in that long before. And we changed a little bit of the tempo at the end, but those guys got some good reps, and he was out there the whole time, which is good, and he looks good.
Do you get eager to, I know you'll be patient with it, but eager to name the starting quarterback? I mean, does that really put you guys
Sure.
on a path?
Sure. I think, yeah, we all want to get the positions that are going to play for us in that two deep ready to go. And we have, on Monday, we sit down with our guys after we've been through the weekend. We sit down and we start to figure out, all right, you're going to be here, you're going to be this position, you're going to be on scout team. We get out there on Tuesday's practice, the black jerseys come out, those are going to be the scouters, so we get back to doing some work that way. And absolutely, because now you can start really focusing on guys working together and the consistency that you want to build. Really not just on offense, but on defense as well, and special teams. So, yeah, we're getting there, but we're gonna make sure that we sit down and everybody's got all their opinions and things like that, and we do it as a staff and we make our decision.
Privately, do you feel like you have thoughts of which direction this is going and you want to look at the film to confirm those thoughts?
I did until tonight. Yeah, I mean, and I kind of thought we're going one way, and then I watched some guys perform tonight, and it was like, okay. But there you go. That's these guys rising up to the challenge, right? So give them an opportunity to go out there and compete, give them a chance to get their snaps and go back and evaluate it before you start making that decision, because if we don't see what we saw tonight. So yes, after I got a pretty good idea of where I'm at, I'm going to watch it tonight. We'll go back and see how they do tomorrow, because you want to see how a guy comes back from it, or if he's consistent because he did well, does he carry it over in tomorrow's practice? And that helps us going into Sunday and Monday.
Any thought about changing the 10-day deadline? There wasn't really no deadline.
You know what, that's always, and I use that one, that's a general deadline there. That's something to go clear back. I was coaching tight ends. That was something, I didn't make that up. That was just one thing that we had kind of done, and right in that area, or right in that time frame was when we chose a quarterback. So if it's not till next week, then we'll wait till next week. That's not normally been the case for us. We've usually had an idea of what we're doing, and we're talking quarterbacks, but really with our other positions too. You've got competitions going at other positions, so it's no different there. We still got to figure out this is where we're going at all these positions. Quarterback's obviously the big one, everybody wants to know about.
Do you have a sense if you're thinking it's going to be one, whoever it is, the one guy's going to be the primary guy, or do you feel more whether or not two guys might play, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know on that one, to be honest with you, if we're going to go two guys. And I've never really been that way. We did it with Montel, and it worked. There was packages and things like that, but you're going to get a series. You got the third series. Yeah, I'm not going to say that's the direction we're going.
If it's this close and it goes back and forth, have you kind of started thinking about the possibility of having to juggle two all season?
Good. Yeah, I mean, if that's something that gets in the game, yeah, I think when you say juggle, I think we'll be juggling. It's whether we're going to go in there and just say into the game, like you're getting the first two drives, you're getting the third, and it's already predetermined. It might be, hey, this is a package of plays for you, or if something happens in the game, there's obviously a change. Don't anticipate that. You want to let your guy go out there and work through it, but you've got a couple guys, 2-3 guys in there that are in the mix, and those guys are doing well, so you have a good competition going on, and that's what you want. That those guys are making each other better, then we got to make a decision, and that's all they can do. They can't control that. They can control what they get, their reps, how they compete, and that's exactly what they've been doing.
Who are some of the guys maybe that caught your eye then this fall camp? I mean, I don't know about specific plays maybe today, but
Sure.
just general in fall camp, who has really kind of caught your eye?
Well, I would say Scott Matlock. I think he's done a good job on the D-line. and really all those guys up front. Coach Danielson has prepared those guys well. Scott has continued to improve and get better. You know, young players still, but that whole group, I've seen those guys elevate their game, and I think there's a lot more consistency on the D line there. In the back end, a couple young guys, Markel Reed has done well this camp. Jalen Skinner, I've mentioned him before. But having our veteran players back too, DeAndre Pierce, I mean, having that guy back out in the field, you have DeAndre Pierce back out there, that makes a huge difference on the defensive side. You know, we didn't have him for how many games last year. So just having that guy back on the field, Koa back out there, he's improved. So a lot of our returners, Avery Williams, those guys, Riley Wimpy, get a chance to see him now, work himself into the mix, and coming off his injury and where he's at right now, that guy is doing a great job of getting himself ready. Phil Mills is a guy we haven't seen for a couple of years now, and now he's out there practicing, so he's out there flying around. It's good to have him on the defensive side. Offensively, obviously the quarterback position, I think our tight ends have done a really good job. Garrett Collingham, Bates, Bastoni, those guys, I think they have played well. Wide receivers have all been very good through this camp. And then the O-line has been solid. And those guys have been doing their deal in that first O-line. So a lot of guys have caught our eye. Some of the young players from that standpoint, I've talked about George Holani. I think he's had a really good camp. He's another guy. So there's a few of those. Kaheem Waleed, that guy has gotten better here, especially this last week. He just keeps stepping up and making plays. So those are a few of the young guys, and other guys have stood out. But there's a lot of guys. I mean, those are guys that just come up right now and they did well in the scrimmage.
Injury-wise,